Hi there, everyone, and once again, welcome to IMF 52325 Spiritual Writing. This is a really quick video meant to just give you kind of a macro tour of how to navigate our class, just so that you can, if you're new to our program or new to Canvas, how to kind of navigate some of the basic things. But then also for our course in particular, I'll just quickly point out a couple of things. So you're obviously on our homepage. And I've got this in student view, and the one problem is there's one thing I'm not really going to be able to show you in this video, but you'll get more instruction for it in future videos and other material in the course. So this is our homepage, and hopefully you've taken a look at my very exciting little welcome video here. This menu over here is what you are generally going to use to navigate our course. If you ever need to just get back to the homepage, you can obviously click home. And then we've also got, this is the syllabus page where you can check out all the details of our course. There is a PDF of our syllabus as well, in case that is easier for you to navigate. I will admit it's something of a cumbersome document just in order to include all of the required things that the university wants us to have. There's some links to other materials and resources that you can look through. But probably the things that are going to be most important to you are just our course description, a list of our course textbooks, the major assignments, and then some class policies. And then at the very end, you can get kind of a course schedule if you want to take a look at that. Up to you. Probably the place that you're going to spend the most of your time is on the modules page. So I'll go ahead and click on this. This is going to break down for you all of our course modules. Our course is 8 weeks long, and we have a little bit past the very beginning, one weekly module per week. And at the start of every module is a weekly overview, and that's going to be the place you're going to want to start every week. You're not going to see them yet because we aren't there yet in the semester as of my recording of this video, but there will be a short video that goes over that week's material in each of those overview pages. You can also get a quick written description of the week, as well as a list of all of our assignments with their due dates. So if you want to track what to do when, you can do that there. And then you can simply navigate through the modules by clicking on the next button, and that's going to take you to the next thing that's in the module. You can also always simply go to the modules page and click onto whatever assignment it is you need to look at. There are 3 other modules in our course, and I'm going to strongly suggest that in the first week you take a look through these. This course requirements module, just walks through a number of the things that are actually in the syllabus, but also breaks a lot of that stuff down on singular pages to make it a little bit more digestible. Then the next module is just information about the MFA program. If you've taken or are taking our orientation course, the 50,000 Lindenways class, you've encountered a lot of this already, but I like to include it in all of my courses just so that you have easy access to it if you're not enrolled in that class. You don't really necessarily need to go through this entire module this week, but just know that it's there so that if you have questions or concerns about registration when we get there, any questions about emphases, the degree requirements, advising, etc., there's just a bunch of information there that you might find useful. And then this very short module just has 3 pages at the moment, but workshop is going to be a significant portion of our course. And so what you can find there is just some basic information about how that's going to work. You'll be encouraged to take a look at that when we get closer to workshopping, but if you want a bit of a preview, you can take a look there. The other thing I'm going to point out, just a few more things, is if you ever want to just find our various discussion boards, you can simply click there and jump right to them. There are a whole bunch of these. I'll just draw your attention to these 3 that are pinned at the top. The first is this questions for the instructor board. I will check this every day, and if you just have a question about proceeding through the course or course materials or something like that, it doesn't even have to be about our class, but just something that you would be comfortable with the answer being public and the question itself being public, it's helpful for me if you post those there because you are maybe not the only one that has that question. I've tried to make the class as intuitive and straightforward as possible, but of course, that's because it's the way I've set it up is intuitive to me, which may not make it intuitive to you. But please feel free to ask questions, and my feelings will not be hurt if something confuses you. If you have a very specific question about your assignments, your grades, some issue that you are personally having that you don't want to be public, please do send those to me directly. But it is helpful if it's just a course-wide thing to post that there. These other 2 discussion boards that are pinned are things that we'll be doing throughout the first several weeks. and that's why they're pinned there. One is called the lounge. It's going to serve as an introductory place for you all to get to know each other, that I will leave alone once I've accounted for the fact that everybody's introduced themselves. So you and you have my Scout's honor that I will not interfere in there. And so you don't need to be worried about discussing or saying anything that you don't want me to hear, because I won't hear it after I've checked to make sure everybody's introduced themselves. And then we'll have a brainstorming discussion board. That will stretch over the first 3 weeks just as a way to bounce ideas for what you're thinking about writing in this course off of one another. Okay. Okay, then just a couple other quick things. You can always check your grades here by clicking on grades. My sample student doesn't have any assignments completed, but let's see if this works anyway. When you start submitting things to me, this is where you will find your feedback. So where this has no submission because they don't have a sample submission. What I will do is I will usually post comments over here, just in response to your work, as well as every now and then embed a few spot check micro level bits of feedback in there. What will happen is your Word document will appear up here, and there will be the phrase "see feedback" somewhere up here. It might be over here. My brain's not remembering. You'll just need to click on that, and your document will open with my embedded feedback in it. When it gets to workshopping time, there will be more information about how I'll give you feedback, but basically you'll get in-text comments and a media video bit of feedback. You can also always jump to all of our assignments by clicking on assignments. They are organized, generally speaking, in chronological order for what's going to be due when. I realize this looks like a lot, but much of this is just multiple places to do things that are related. This other link here for Perusall 1.3, that's going to be a tool we're using later in the course that I've got an entire video on, so I'm not going to go through it here. So that's really what I wanted to hit on. The last thing I will just quickly mention, there is a page in the course requirements page that talks about this. But in terms of our course structure, for the first several weeks, things proceed with very similar deadlines. Mostly, the way that I've arranged things is that you get until Friday to complete the reading and initial discussion, because there is a lot of reading in the first 3 weeks, and I want to make sure everyone has time to do that. And then by Monday, completing all of the other parts, with some other stuff in between. When we get into weeks 4 through 8, where we're workshopping, the weeks will have some slightly goofy deadlines. Like the deadlines will change around a little bit each week. And that's just because that's going to be the easiest way for us to do things. I will go over all of those deadlines in my weekly overviews. And they're listed again, assignment deadlines are listed in the overview page. But just be aware of that even I'm going to do this annoying thing where once you've gotten into a rhythm after a few weeks, I'm going to change the rhythm a little bit. But I just want to draw that to your attention just so that you know that there will be some weeks where the deadlines are a little different just by the nature of what we're trying to do. That's really all I wanted to share. If you go through this or you start exploring our course and you have any questions whatsoever about navigation, do not hesitate to ask. There's nothing wrong with checking and making sure you understand than guessing and being wrong and having problems later. So I will not be at all put out if you pose those kinds of questions. Okay? Thanks, everybody. And if you have questions, just let me know.